So this is the Reaper machine, direct drive rotary. I'm gonna go over a couple of tips and pointers to kind of help people out because I get a lot of emails about these that I feel I can answer real quick with a how-to video. So first thing I'm gonna go through is how to set your cam stroke. And this adjustable cam right here has 3 numbers on it. It goes anywhere between 1 and 3.5 millimeter stroke. We set a set screw down in here, and you got to get a 0.50 millimeter Allen wrench. Stick it in there, just barely crack it open like that. And that lifts right out, and you can rotate it. And wherever that little dot ends up, it's gonna be where your new setting is at. I prefer mine about 2.5, so I put mine right about there. And then you put it in and you tighten it up. When you feel it get snug, stop, and then just give it one little, and that's it. You don't need to crank it down too hard. Also, if your cam is in bad shape and you want to call us up and buy a new one, there's a little window we made inside the frame right here. Stick that wrench right inside there, crack that loose, and just grab it by both sides here, just pinch firmly, and just slowly lift the cam off, and it will come off no problem. And you can send that to us and we'll mail you a new one. Or these are the newer binders. A lot of you guys had the older square binders that we used to use, but these are the newer binders. Be really careful when you're tattooing with, make sure you get a good clip cord, something that works really well. Don't buy these, 800-pound clip cords or these like little wispy things. You gotta get something that's got some, quality to it. Because when you're tattooing, if this thing whips around like this and touches the side of the frame, it's gonna short the machine out. You're gonna think your machine motor's burned out, or that it's making a bad connection. That's not what's happening. It's the wire of the contact on the clip cord is touching the binder and shorting the motor out. So you want to make sure you don't do that. Another thing I wanted to go over was these grommets here. A lot of tattooers use their the grommets that go inside the needle bar. They get the ones that fit really tight. What happens is this bearing that we put on this cam is press fit. So when you actually put something on there that's too tight and you're pulling your needle bar off there, what you're doing is you're essentially slowly but surely working that stem completely out of that bearing enclosure, and you're gonna pull it right out eventually. So what you need to do is get one of these. These are secure fit grommets. You can get these at Kingpin. I think Workhorse Irons also sells them. And put it on there. It's real soft, and you can actually just grab it with your fingers and pull it right off of there, and it's not too tight, and it goes on your needle bar. It's nice and soft, and they're really inexpensive, and you can buy a buttload of them for dirt cheap. These are the ones we recommend for this machine because it actually does allow us to actually take the needle bars off and on easily without any compromise on the fit of that bearing and stem. Also, these rubber bands here, basically standard 12 rubber bands. I don't recommend the single fat rubber band because these are not the same as one fat rubber band. These actually work differently. The one fat rubber band creates more drag on it. You have to stretch it out a little bit before you put it on. There's just a little bit to that, and people have called me and said that they thought their machine was running funny, and I found out they were using different rubber bands. These are just standard rubber bands. Everyone should already have these. You put those on there, and it's the perfect tension. That's all you're gonna need. Also, I'll set up a needle bar in here in a minute and show you a side-to-side thing where a lot of times people say their needle bar is hitting the tube. Because this is a direct drive and it rotates, the needle bar does pivot back and forth through this area here before it actually, disappears into the tube, and sometimes it rubs on the side. I'll show you how to adjust that so that you no longer have that going on there, and that could also cause ink to travel up the tube and causing unpleasant splattering effect. So we'll go over that in just a minute. And also, if you're using cartridges on these machines, make sure you buy quality cartridges from a reputable supplier, because the cartridges that they make that are very inexpensive and you can buy in quantity are not good. The springs are super tight and they will burn the motors out. So I'm going to set this thing up right now with the needle bar in it and a tube, and show you how to adjust the bend on the needle bar if it needs to happen. Alright, so I'm all loaded up here with a tube and needle. Now you can tell when you hear it, it doesn't sound, you can actually hear the ticking of it hitting the side of the tube. I actually set this up and it was already touching here on the left side of the machine. So what I'm going to do is turn that off, and I'm going to rotate that out and get a close-up here if you could have. You can see how it's turning, and it's just almost rubbing right there on that edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clock it to 3 o'clock here, and I'm going to take my knuckle and I'm just going to bend it just a little bit like that. And that's going to put it right back in the center again. A little less rubber band tension. It actually runs a lot smoother now. And if you look down the pipe there, you can see it's staying totally in the center. And there's no more side-to-side activity happening there. So that's one way to do that. And the other thing I wanted to remind everyone was do not, while you're tattooing with this machine, stop it with your thumb so you could talk to somebody, or just kind of play with it and then like stall the motor out. If you stall this motor out while it's running, you're going to burn out the circuitry in the motor, and the machine will no longer perform either at all or to its peak performance, which is the way you should receive it when you get it out of the box. I also wanted to go over on just real basic knowledge of how to lubricate the cam, because you will need to do it once in a while. And the easiest thing to do is right here, take everything off. And if you look down inside there, let me grab this needle. Down inside here, you see this where it goes from brass to silver. All of our cams are made the same, so this shouldn't change. That area right there is the bearing. What you want to do is put a little bit of lube on it. I got a little container of machine oil here, and what I'll do is I'll put a drop on there, just like this. And then I'll plug the machine back in. And I'll slowly just bounce that off my thumb like this, real lightly, and let it work itself down into the bearing. And that should be perfect right there. You can also use a product called Super Lube. I have a little bit here. I use these for the Hell's Gate slider machines mostly, but this is a silicone-free synthetic grease. And if you put a glove on and just put a little bit of that on your pinky finger, dab it around the edges here, dab it around the edges on that can, and do the same thing and run it with your thumb and let it bounce off, and then just take a paper towel while it's running and just kind of get the excess off like that. Then that should be lubed up perfectly, and it should last you quite a while. I mean, the bearings in here are good bearings, and they last a really long time. They shouldn't, but depending on how you tattoo, they get a lot of wear and tear on them, of course. I mean, I'd still do an 8-hour day every day with this machine. I've had this machine for 2 years now, and I've only replaced the bearing once. And it was because when we first started building these machines, we learned a lot about the bearings since then. So now we have this one that I've been tattooing with for 2 years solid, and it's the same motor and everything, runs tip top. Also, when you're cleaning this machine, don't spray it with Maticide, Opticide, or Wavicide, or any of those things. Just get a sandy cloth or a paper towel like this. Put a little bit of cleaner on it. I use a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of just a touch of what comes with sandy wipes, and just the machine's surfaces should be very easy to clean. So just wipe them down like this, get it nice and clean. Stay away from all the mechanical areas with those things. Those are corrosive to metal at some degree, so you want to just keep that off there. And you want to just wipe it off like that. Flip it over to the dry side, wipe it down. It should be the perfect way to clean it off. Don't spray. If you have any questions, email me at xreapermachinex@yahoo.com, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And thanks.